I am recording and have accomplished so many particular things successfully. I'm very proud of myself this morning. And we are recording about restfulness today, about revolutionary resting, and also yesing revolutionary resting, metanoic embodiment practice that had been led in the past and in whatever ways emerged for us today by Michon, Neal, who I am grateful to be in conversation with as often as possible. So we're resting. So we're showing up today to talk about the importance of resting and how any work we do must be done most restfully in order to be able to do it at all. In order to be able to achieve it most successfully, certainly, and to confront the weaponization of colonial urgency, which has infected our communities to believe that the only way to accomplish something is violently, all these different levels violently. And I have a document, and the document helps me to proceed most restfully so that I'm not thinking about what is going to happen or what I have to remember or something or some other thing. On here it says we're going to talk till 12:30. We can run over. It doesn't have to be exact. And then take a bio break. And then we will broadcast from Telegram while I upload this video, which I believe I can achieve. We have an intuitive bridge course in development now, featuring metanoic embodiment practice led Michon, Neal, using to revolutionary resting, and we'll continue bringing updates about this into everything that we broadcast. I have some notes here that are meant for if my talking is needed. What most I am interested right now in is connecting, Michon, your experience to why restful methodologies are needed, why embodiment and embodied resting are so important. And I'm sure I will share pieces of my notes here and there.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah, and speaking of revolutionary resting, I realized yesterday that there's an even deeper level that I need to go to. It's a process, and it's something that has been actively discouraged and largely forgotten by so many people. Our lives today, just the amount of stress is overwhelming, even if you don't account for all the oppression and abuse and things that go on. The pacing of life today itself is just, it's impossible. Everything is moving so quickly, and there's, yes, excitement about it, and there's a time and a place, but there's also a time and a place for just being, just recognizing where you are, of tuning into the body and seeing what's going on with it, and having deep memories and traumas that we still need to process. Um, a lot of it, of course, begins in childhood, and those things, they come with us. Time is not linear. We don't experience it that way. We What we focus on is what is, and also sometimes what we repress. What we repress is what is. Um, and so I'm really grateful that we're having this conversation, and especially now. I know in the winter, I slow down a lot, whether I want to or not. I used to fight it. I used to fight through it, and that's part of what led to the worsening of a lot of my symptoms and conditions. And basically, what I was doing was borrowing from my future, borrowing that energy, borrowing that that focus and all of that. And we only get so much because we only live so long. And of course, by borrowing from that, I'm I've been paying for it a lot in these past few years. Um, but the idea of revolutionary resting and yesing to revolutionary resting is um, is taking our time and space back. Um, there are so many things. There are millions of things that we could get, distracted by or swept up in. Um, Even something as simple as just the people we spend time with. I don't think we realize or notice how much of an impact that has on what we're able to do, what we're able to think, and how much of ourselves and nature we get to really know. I'm not saying that we should just, shut out the entire world forever. That's not the idea. The idea is to be able to go out into the world truly rested and certain in ourselves, to go out without the anxiety and as much of the pain, to go out with our boundaries intact, um, to focus on protection not as something that's offensive or defensive, but as something that just is the way it should be. Um, Being able to go out in the world solid in ourselves and our connection with nature and with the rest of humanity. I want people to imagine, right? We all talk about, we have our ideas of heaven or of peace on earth, or whatever. And this is part of creating that, is being able to recognize that rest is just as important as the work that we do, and also play. These are three separate areas of our life. I like to call them like, it's my own, it's like a, what do you call it? Your individual holy trinity, work, play, and rest. And we need all three to be fulfilled and to feel like we matter and to feel like we are well. Um, I think I'm uh, using the word wellness or talking in those terms rather than about health, because disabilities are disabilities. They don't just go away. We have these things for life. But the way we go about it, we can still focus on our wellness, um, regardless of our health levels. And for some people, yes, it might mean that they do become actually healthier. That's great. Um, and they can function in the world a little better. But the idea is we're focusing on, right, the whole person, holistic health. And so I've started to record myself just going through my process from day to day. Right now, it might be like once or twice a week that I do it. It really depends. the fact that I'm able to do this now, um, despite my past few days, even, or the struggles that I'm having, is I think its own testament to how powerful and how necessary this work is. Um, Usually doing interacting socially is one of my biggest stressors, even if it's like something beautiful and positive. The pattern has been that it still takes a lot of energy away from me, um, because I can't help but to become completely engaged with whatever is in front of me. And so, um, especially depending on the people, all of that different energy and all of the things um, that they might be hiding as well. Like I feel that. Um, so I have to be very careful about inviting in parts of the world that involve people. And it's not that I don't love people or love interacting with people. It's not that I don't need it. It's that I literally have to rest for every activity that I do. So, if I eat a meal, I have to rest and make sure that I digest it properly because, right, I have GERD. I don't want it to come back up. I don't want it to bother my stomach. After I do my stretches or yoga, I take a break and let my body rest completely.
I'm glad that you're letting go of your feelings, making it known to the world.
Oh, thank you, hon. You want to say that so this is right, and also being a parent. So this is my oldest, and would you like to repeat what you just said, because I think that was beautiful.
I'm glad that she's letting the world know how she's feeling.
This wonderful child is.
I took care of her.
Yes.
While she was in pain, and practically nobody else would except Dad.
Yeah. I love you, sweetie.
I love you too.
Thank you for that. But yeah, that's. Oh, you wanted to say something, Max?
I support these words profoundly. I am glad for the expressing of how you're feeling. I feel is needed these expressions. I appreciated these words very much.
Yeah, we're told, especially in this this ultra macho culture, that resting is weakness, that being vulnerable is weakness, that being emotional is weakness. When really it is the strongest thing that you can do.
Could I say it that keeps coming up for me? I will just say it. I'm imagining the federation of all of the ships. Somebody's been watching Discovery around here somewhere, I believe. I'm imagining the federation of all the ships, and there are all these importance that they do all of the time, and all of the individual ships have to be resilient and have to be repaired to be safe. And the Federation does all these important things and repairs ships. And what if in the Federation we went around saying, "You're really weak. You didn't do that fast enough. You're not good enough." At the same time, every communication and every interaction and activity going on in the Federation required the extreme and continuous destruction of all of the ship's shields, so that nobody's ever at 100% shields, even in the midst of their supposedly protected home environment. And for anyone to then walk around and saying, "Oh, you're not good enough and you're not good enough," and to have these unexamined compromises in systems that are supposedly there to support and protect us, that is making a very, very helpful picture right now in my mind. Also, feelings is in my body of recognizing what we've been living through in so many intersectionalized communities.
I love that you brought that up, because actually that is a big part of my embodiment practice, is finding media and finding shows like like Star Trek to understand, get an idea of, right, this is what it should be on the ship, right? Everybody, they have their role and they each respect each other. I do kind of wish they would bring back the counselor position on the ship. Deanna Troi was incredible, and this is through all that time, everybody's. But she was an integral part of the ship, and her opinion mattered, and they gave her an extra like room for expression of herself. Her outfits were not regulation, and they were amazing, and they valued her words so much, and accepted her her mental powers and her empathy without ever, right, this was something that made them stronger together, and that they relied on, because these are such important things. And she wasn't a counselor, and she wasn't like the therapist and the psychologist, psychiatrist that we see now. She just she was very objective in the way she went about dealing with people and letting them come to their own conclusions. And it was beautiful. She was able to hold space. And I love characters like that. Zan from Farscape, which is a lesser known show, but a wonderful show, especially about dealing with trauma and that constant barrage. Like, yes, that is a crew. They show the development and what effect that constant stress, that PTSD, that CPTSD that occurs. Bazan was this beautiful. She was literally a plant that had the shape of a human being, and her practice, her spiritual practice was just it was gorgeous. It was gorgeous, and she struggled with it, but she continued on that path. Like, no matter what happened, she was able to come back to her center and to make sure that the others were at 100%. She actually died in the series, and after that, you could see the effect that it had, because, right, the others, they were a little worse off, but they did try in little ways to remember her. They weren't her, so they made a lot of mistakes. But you could see, just when they did remember her and her lessons, they're like, oh yes, right, I need to be full on, because, right, the barrage isn't going to stop. It's going to go on no matter what. And that's what we as disabled and those of us living at the intersections of all of these things understand, is that this barrage is never going to stop. But we can always, and we must take that time to be fully ourselves, to remember who we are, and that is most important, who we are and why we're here, because otherwise it becomes like static or just utter nonsense. We lose our sense of being in the world, and we're like, and that's when we start figuring, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't be here, and we don't want to get to that point. We want to prevent that. Yeah, sorry, it looks like you want to have something.
No, I love it. I love the multiple points of reference for science fiction media that helps us connect with stories that relate in a non-verbal physical way with our experience. I want to call out intuitive.pub/media, which is the URL where related things and perhaps also this are being posted. we are talking about a situation where without the restfulness and the restfulness practices that we're talking about, not only spend time resting, but also to ensure that any work that we do is done restfully. And for us at these intersections, the only way that we have been able to show up to what we've been doing when off camera we are dying is, in order to do that, we must work in the most restful possible ways. Work and rest can't be extricated from one another. They have to go together. And when I found the words to talk about weaponized colonial urgency, it was so important to me to have recognized what that is, and to have listened to the first peoples of the place that I was born, and to understand more about how this kind of violence that is often not called violence, the ways that was brought to these shores of Turtle Island, United States of America, and my ability to regain the facility of using words as well as I ever do, saying any of these things in a way that someone else could understand. The only way that I achieved that is by fighting for restfulness and restful working conditions that didn't exist, that no one understood what I meant. And people were very ready to pathologize or punish in ways when they thought I was entitling myself to privileges I had not earned by merit, which is this whole other part of the conversation. If it would be all right with you, Michon, I would love to take a break, then have more of our conversation at Intuitive Bridge on Telegram Messenger, which others can find by navigating to t.me/s/intuitive-bridge, where this segment will be uploaded. I feel already our success is coming. It's only really, it's 2 minutes after 30. So perhaps what I would like to do, ask you for parting comments for this section, to whatever extent you wish. I'm not in an immediate emergency. And then we make our bio break, our rest from resting and talking about resting. And I have a plan. This is a plan. May I ask your insight?
I think that would be wonderful. I just, I would like to make a few more comments, and then that would be good. And this is, I do want to state that this right here is when I say I have this this hashtag, accessibility is a requirement, and when we talk about access needs and things like that, this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. Setting up even conversations and work to incorporate rest, because that is without rest, nothing else happens. Nothing else happens. And with whatever higher power you believe in, even they rest. Even they rest and just take in everything. So that is, yes, I would love to do that, because I think that I am starting to lose my connection to my mouth, which is what happens when the when the chronic fatigue kicks in. But I believe I should still be able to type. My hands are good. So let's see. What was it? Oh, talking about, right. So going back to like the colonial impact. I love that you brought that up, because right, the whole idea is they came in and started keeping people busy on purpose. And it's like this, we have this miasma of, it's gaslighting is what it is. Because right, they keep you so busy, and especially when it piles on and piles on, your brain has to slow down, and process what's happening, and your body has to do it too. But they keep it coming so fast that you don't even notice until you crash, or or end up with illnesses, until it's too late to do anything about it, to recover in a way that would keep you able to do whatever it is they want you to do, basically. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. And also, I am building a list of media that is good. So when we're resting, we're not talking about the idea of being lazy or not doing anything. It's more taking the time to nourish yourself, nourish your body with food and liquids and touch, and just and pleasing things, music or whatever. It's also nourishing your mind with content that's not mindless. There is a time for just putting on whatever, but for the most part, you should be watching things that not necessarily make you think too hard, but just make you go, oh yes, gives you that helps things click for you. So I'm building a list like that now. I would love to also have conversations about the media that I ingest, and why I watch this and why I watch this, and how that helps with all of it. And then of course, right, we need to nourish our hearts and our souls. So making sure that we're emotionally taken care of and feel good about ourselves and where we are, no matter what's going on. That is incredibly important. Let's see, there was one other thing I wanted to comment on, but right, memory is is shutting down. I might remember it later.
I hear you. The you said about losing your connection to your mouth. The connection to mouth is like a thing. Thank you thank you for managing to realize that particular snippet of realization. Um, I'm so grateful for the wealth of support that is in your ability to visualize and teach and assist others in understanding about embodiment practices, because it is so difficult for so many people to access. And so our collective network disability aid, collective network embodiment practice and restfulness practice, we can use directly in the service of ensuring that you have your needs met, so that you can continue doing the work that you are doing. And we are compiling links and efforts in that respect that will go with video where people find it. I know there are other things I meant to say, but I guess we should take a bio break. And then, in whatever ways I can support you on Telegram, wonderful. And if you need a long bio break, or a day's long bio break, or anything, that's also fine. I hold down the fort on Telegram Messenger if needed. Intuitive.pub/bridge. That's a URL, I should say. That's where a lot of things are connected. People will find many other ways. Okay, here we go. Blessings.